Good morning, everyone. By the time you see this video, it's likely going to be Friday afternoon. But I wanted to do this video to welcome you to my channel, the Fairy Oracle, where I will be doing weekly readings for guidance, hope, love, and wisdom. And throughout the week, I will be doing maybe one card pull, maybe doing a quick scry reading, maybe a little vlog about the thoughts that come into my mind. And I'm hoping and praying that this guidance will be a bright spot in your day and will help you along your journey. Because remember, your destination is the journey. So oftentimes we look ahead to what we aspire to or what we want to happen, and we negate the experience along the way. And this is my goal for my YouTube channel, to help you to stop and appreciate the little things in life. When we talk about abundance, what does it mean to have abundance? When we talk about change, what does that entail for you? When we talk about serenity, how do we acquire serenity in the chaos? And so I feel very strongly about my videos being as real as possible. I know that quality of videos is really important, but I don't like having those lights in my eyes. I'm very sensitive. I've been sensitive since I was a very little girl. So having all those lights seems very unnatural to me. And I want to be as natural as possible when I come on YouTube. So you're going to see shadows, and you're going to see wrinkles, and you're going to see my environment, and you're going to see me be real. I probably won't even edit my videos. And that's because when you're having a conversation with someone, do you edit? Do you pull a shade down and say, I'll be right back, and then flip the shade back up? No, you are real. You are who you are. And I feel that this is something that the elemental kingdom in nature, the fairies, are trying to portray to everyone out there. Excuse me for a minute. Tate, quiet. See, I'm not going to edit that because this is my environment. I have 3 dogs. I have a cat. I work a job. My husband works a job. He's very busy. The phone rings. If I edit all that out, I'm going to appear like somebody else. And I want you to see me for who I am. So with this said, I'm going to take a sip of coffee from my wolf totem. $1 coffee mug from Dollar General. This is my favorite coffee mug because when I was experiencing something very dark and very deep in my life many years ago, I had an experience. I can't explain it, but I was driving after doing a job at dusk. It's a mile into the woods on a dirt road. Nobody else is around. And the property is actually gated. And I have access into this property. On my way out, I was very deep in thought. I was struggling mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And my body was suffering at the time as well. I had a lot going on. And as I'm driving around this bend on this long, mile-long dirt road, I had to slam on my brakes because two huge wolves, two, came out of nowhere from the right-hand side of my vehicle and jumped over the hood of my car. But when I turned to the left and looked into the woods, there were no wolves. I cannot explain this. I just know in that moment of time, in the darkest of darkest moments in my life, I was being given a blessing. And if you notice on this mug, there are two wolves. After this experience, I happened to be walking through Dollar General. It wasn't Dollar General then, it was called Family Dollar. And then Family Dollar closed and a Dollar General came up. So it was really Family Dollar. And they had a shelf of closeout items. And I looked and there was the mug for $1. And I bought the mug. And I've been using it ever since. It's my favorite mug. But that message that I needed to receive from a different dimension was, look, we've got you covered. And a wolf totem is a sign of courage. Be fierce. Know who you are. We are your family. We're not going to let anything happen to you. And to me, that was a message from the spirit realm. You can call it God. You can call it infinite spirit. You can call it source. That I was being protected. And that I really didn't have anything to fear. Even though my emotions at the time were off the charts. Anxiety, fear. I was depressed. I couldn't control my circumstances, let alone control myself. And to this day, I feel a very close connection with my wolf spirits. So I just would like to flip one card for the weekend from my Light Fragments Oracle cards that I launched in 2014. I do not have any more inventory. I'm looking for a printer that will redo these cards for me. And when I get that, I will be selling the card decks. And I'm also working on another deck, as I mentioned in another video. But I'm going to do a quick shuffle, and I'm going to pull a card for the weekend. Because, you know, I did a card reading for the week. But yesterday was so crazy for me. I was running from the time I left the house at 9 o'clock until about 7 o'clock last night. And I felt my brain was very saturated. Now, I know that Saturday is the new moon. And the new moon is a good time to set intentions. Why is this? Well, because in the moon phases, whenever there is a new moon, we set an intention for following the new moon. And our bodies and our planet has phases, right? Depending on where you live. I live in New England. So we have winter, spring, summer, fall. And then those phases happen all over again. Well, the moon has phases. The planet has phases. The universe has phases. Our bodies have phases as we move into different times of our lives. So I thought it would be a good time to pull a card for the new moon. Now, when I got up this morning, the first word that popped into my mind was change. And I, not only globally, but on a personal level, I feel change is imminent. I feel that there are many changes coming for all of us. I'm not going to label them positive or negative, but rather I'm going to say to all of you, change is a part of life. It happens. So what do we do with it? What do we do with it? Sometimes we make those changes. We decide for ourselves that these changes are something we need to do. And sometimes something will happen randomly that we don't expect, and it catapults us into a new way of living. But for the new moon, for today, for the weekend, change is something I feel very strongly about. So what this means is you could all be in the process of change, whether it's getting married, having a baby, selling your home, moving to another state, moving somewhere far away, buying another house, starting a new business, moving into an older, wiser way of living. And so let's pull a card. I think I've chatted enough. But yeah, this is me. This is my comfortable place. And it might not be something on YouTube that's going to get billions of clicks. I hope it does. Because I think everybody needs a little bit of wisdom from the fairies in their life. And I will be talking about fairies in the future because I think that there is a lot of misconception about this, the light beings. Okay, so I've shuffled enough. I'm going to fan these out. And when I fan them out, I do not, this is what I see. I do not look at the card. And I get a sense of what card needs to be pulled. Typically, I might pick from the top of the deck. Actually, I'm going to pick from the top of the deck, and then I'm going to pick another card. So if you remember, the last reading had to do with relaxing, trying to remember what the middle card was, and I can't remember right now because my life has been so busy since I did that reading. But let's see what the change is for this weekend. This was the first card that I pulled from the deck. Can you see this card, folks? Magic. Tell me, fairies don't exist. They exist. Magical, mystical, miraculous experiences manifest within the gap. So speaking of change, what is the gap? A gap is a notch between two places. It's in the middle. It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like change between one thing and another thing. It's being right there in the middle, not knowing where to go. And that is the most important place for change, for magic, for miracles to occur in your life, because When you are in that gap, you have no choice but to be. You have no choice but to be in that spot. It's like you either want to go backwards or you want to go forwards, but you don't want to be where you are right now. But that is the place of magic. It is called the place of being. And when you take the time to be in that spot without judgment, that sets the energy in motion for future experiences. It really is a mystical place. Now, I want to show you this picture because I painted this card from a picture that I took of a plant that was given to me by my aunt when she passed away. The plant was at her house and I loved that plant. It is a Christmas cactus. And one day I just decided I was going to take a picture of the plant. And when I did, and I blew up the picture, this is what I saw. Peeking out. I saved the picture to my computer. I have it. Because I'm saying to myself, nobody's going to believe me. Nobody's going to believe there was a little fairy in this plant. People are going to think I'm crazy. But it was there. And I saw it. So keep in mind that if you are in a spot and you don't know which way to go, that spot is the most important place to be. Yes, you will have emotions. Yes, you will be anxious. Yes, you will be nervous. Yes, you might have fear. But let it be. The second card, and here we have another one, speaking of the fairies. Light beings. This card, when I created this card, I had a young man that came to me at a venue. And he sat down, and I knew right away that this young man was connected to the elemental kingdom. Why is this? Because I saw them all around him. So light beings come in all shapes and sizes. Typically, when we think of a light being, we think of angels. Why? Because angels are mentioned in the Bible. And, traditionally, angels were the only beings that we were allowed to see. But I'm here to tell you that there are other beings prevalent. And if we put ourselves in that place of being, we will see the light beings. They will show up. Mystically, they will show up. And people say, well, how do you know? Well, for me, shortly after that wolf experience, at the time I was smoking cigarettes, not ashamed to admit it. I only smoked about 8 years out of my life because I was so nervous. And I would go out onto my front porch at night and I would smoke a cigarette. And I noticed that I would see these sparks of light. And I thought, I'm making a big deal about it. It's probably a firefly. No, the fireflies had a different look. These sparks of light tended to hover And some of them were different colors, light blue, dark blue, maybe orange, maybe red. And I did a little research on it. And that was when I realized that I was in this spot where I was almost between two worlds. And I was given the ability to be able to see them. And then synchronicities started to happen in my life. Ancient texts will tell us that we should be kind to everyone because we will be entertaining angels. Well, light beings can be fairies. Light beings can be people that have passed on, that we have a strong connection to. Light beings can be ancestors from hundreds of years ago in our lineage. So, light beings need to be respected for who they are, not thrown out with the baby in the bathwater. They need to be respected by not judging them. There should be no judgment. Just like we do not like to be judged when we do something, or we dress a certain way, or we act a certain way that might be out of our character. So just keep in mind that just like angels mentioned in the Bible, there are other beings that are mentioned in other ancient texts besides the Bible. And it's not necessarily evil. It could be a great gift to you when a light being shows up on your path. Take a look at this light being. People that are connected to light beings have a very strong intuition. They tend to be healers. They tend to love nature. And they tend to look at what is for a person's highest good. What is their highest potential in life? And that is their goal. They want to bring a soul to their highest potential. So, friends, I do not want to keep this reading any longer than I have. Don't be afraid if you're in the gap. Breathe it in. Appreciate it. Be present with it. Don't give it any judgment. And allow what needs to happen, happen. While at the same time, keep living your life. If you have a connection with light beings, do not be afraid. God is everywhere. God created everything. Fear keeps us from experiencing that spiritual nature that God intended us to have. So for today, take some time this weekend. Know that if you're on the precipice of change, all will be well. You are where you're supposed to be in this moment and time. Blessings, my friends. Take care, be well, and be blessed. Until the next time. Bye.